Bon. Bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone.
Bienvenue.
Welcome. I think we're a little bit late because it's our first meeting of the year, so I would like to wish you a happy 2026 New Year. We will start with this meeting, and then we will have other meetings in February, March, April, and May until the next election, as usual. We still have regular meetings. As always, I would like to start. We get gathering on the unceded traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people whose ancestors signed a treaty of peace and friendship with the British Crown in the 1700s. Mr. Clerk, we do have a quorum. Everyone is here this evening. In terms of the declaration of conflict of interest, any council members would like to declare a conflict of interest on any item of the agenda. Seeing none, did not see. Adoption of the agenda. You have in front of you the agenda. I would need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Joël Després. All in questions. Councillor Bourg-Chavary, could I make an addition to the agenda to include like the public safety meeting? It will be part of the special committee report at 8.3. It's already there. I would need a motion to adopt it. All in favor saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you. For people in the audience,
translation devices, they are there, whatnot. I saw them a while ago. So if
you need translation devices, they are available. In terms of adoption of the minutes, we had the minutes of not the last meeting, but maybe the one before last. It's for December 1st, 2025. So you should have a chance to take a look at it. So I would need to move the adoption. Moved by Councillor Germaine Galland, second Councillor Emile. He was going to say Cormier O'Brien. It will be a night like this. Like I have two Cormier on the council. All in favor saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Number 6, public presentation. Well, we have one group this evening. They wanted to present for the heritage site of Cap-Bimet. So, Mr. Richard, we would like to welcome you and we invite you to come in front. Stella Boudreau is there too. I only had one name, sorry. I think you did have a presentation. So we can put it on the screen.
Hello, bonsoir.
Good evening, everyone. So the presentation is the Cap-Bimet Heritage Site. The historical site was used since the foundation of Barachois in 1789 up to 1826. So the construction of the Barachois started. The cemetery is located on the corner of Route 133 and Route Cap-Bimet. Around 1788, like the first Acadian family, they settled like around Petit Barachois, close to Cap-Bimet. We have to note, like we already have a Mi'kmaq village, like on the Abu-Jangan River. About a dozen years later, this new Acadian establishment already has a chapel, cemetery, as the Ministry Antoine Bédard was testifying. In the next year, we had other Acadian families settled in the region, going western part of the close to Shediac, up to the village of Cap-Pelé, where the Tédish River at the eastern part. So those new settlements, they're also part of the Barachois mission while they are burying their deceased individuals. According to Mr. LeBlanc, the former worked in the archives in the Acadian archive at Université. Small population was served by the missionaries from Quebec, and the parish register only exists starting 1812. We have to remind ourselves these are families who were working to reestablish after, like the deportation. Boudreau, Léger, Leblanc, Robichaud, Thibodeau, and many other more They are buried there. We also have like Mi'kmaq, such as Nuko, Marquis, Clermont. We are estimated from 1789 until 1826, there could have been at least 150 individuals buried in this cemetery. In the 1788, the Grand Digue and Shediac region, they were named Jedaic. So in 1826, it seemed the two communities changed their names. There was Grand Digue, La Bature for the Acadians. Shediac was incorporated in 1903. Shediac was served by Grand Digue or Barachois for the funeral service until 1871. Father Clément Cormier, in his research, is saying that the first individuals to be buried in the Shediac cemetery on April 13, 1871 was Nanette Poirier. She was the daughter of Raphaël Poirier and sister of Simon Poirier. He was the father of the Senator Pascal Poirier. Father Cormier also mentioned that Nanette would have given land to build like the church, presbytery, and the Shediac cemetery. So the religious parish of Shediac was founded only in 1834. So the deceased individual prior to 1871 was buried either in Grand Digue or Cap-Bimet. The Anglophones had many other churches at their service. St. Martin's in the Woods that was built in 1821. We believe that this land has to be protected. It's the ancestors of all the region of Cap-Pelé up to Shediac. These ancestors testify like the friendship between the Acadians and the Mi'kmaq people, and also like the difficulty of resurrection of Acadia after the deportation. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's good.
PowerPoint.
We send you a PowerPoint like with a lot of information. So I would like to add a few points I consider like that you could consider. Stella mentioned like a few family names, but in fact there's many other families. They are founder families of our great region. So when we're talking about Cap-Bimet, it's difficult to say like it's like Cap Acadie or Beaubassin East, regardless, because the historical site existed well before those the municipalities. There were no municipalities at the time. And it was serving like a region located between the Scudo-Quebec and Tidi River. It belongs to all of us. Is to say as the Moncton Cathedral only belongs to Moncton. It's to say like Notre Dame de Paris only belong in Paris, because we know like all our people all over the world contributed to the restitution of after like the fire. Yes, there were Boudreaux. The ancestors were there, but they were also like Casey, Brun, Cormier, Léger, Leblanc. The ancestors of many like mayors of Shediac and Cap-Pelé, and also ancestors of many councillors, individuals like who contributed a lot to the development of the Acadia in this region, in our territory. I think it's important like to mention the friendship between the Acadians and the Mi'kmaq people, because it was already a community, and the Mi'kmaq are buried in the Cap-Bimet cemetery. And I would also add our goals are realistic, short-term and also long-term. What we want to do is to protect this site. The land belongs to succession. They live in Quebec and is available, and it's just like around a very small piece of land that belongs to the Moncton Diocese. And there's also a monument that to remember the site is located. Then we would be able to own like the lot. And the Historical Society, Marcel is the president of the society, and also our work committee for the Historical Society, the Rivière-Rouge. This land is vacant. What we want to do is purchase the land, plan it, and make it accessible to the public, and eventually maybe to develop a trail where people, including children, tourists, could walk and learn the history about the region and the friendship between the Acadians and the Mi'kmaq. So the date of purchase is March 31st, so it's getting close for us. Our campaign has a goal of $200,000, and the seller is asking $195,000, but we are keeping some money aside, like for surveying fees and also like law fees that would be required for the transaction. So the municipality of Cap Acadie will be contributing $61,000 to our projects. The institution that supported us are UNI, Assumption Life, and also the Father of Sainte Croix. Amongst the businesses, Assurance Vieno, individuals, we have 15. They contributed between $1,000 and $10,000. It's very according to the individual, and hundreds of individuals contributed by purchasing a ticket on September 6th when we launched a campaign. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And as of today, we reach 142,000. That means if you should decide to contribute to the same level as Cap Acadie did, we would already have reached our goal. It's if. So we are working really hard for 3 years. And we had different owners. It was very complicated. But we are confident that we'll be able to reach our goal. Of course, we would wish like the town of Shediac would be part of our effort to commemorate this site. So we would be very pleased and happy for us to give us the chance to present the project, and we would be very happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much for this presentation, and you showed like what the project was, and in terms of what's left to fundraise, like in terms of funds, and we can certainly like consider it like a request. Paul Boudreau, thank you for your presentation. Bernard Stella, is there a specific amount you're looking for? Because I look at your documents, it's 200,000 up to 61,000 individuals. Is there a specific amount? So we can react to this. Our goal is to reach $200,000. This is our goal, and we are at 142,000. Cap Acadie contributed 61,000. It's up to you to decide. We would wish for Shediac to recognize it's a heritage site for the whole region. It included the town of Shediac, because the founders of our region, they settled in Shediac, Barachois, and Cap-Pelé. I do not want to say like we're hoping like the biggest contribution as possible. I think at 10,000 we would be happy if it's yes. But listen, well, Well, it would be better if it's higher. We are organizing like a lottery on February 7th, so we are selling tickets. So we continue like the process. And we're meeting also with the businesses from the area and other individuals this week. And today, the Historical Society was able to create like an account that allows individuals to transfer like actions without paying any capital gain. So we already have one donor. He said he would give $5,000 if you are registered. So the shares, because it doesn't cost more. So today it was done. So we are pursuing our efforts. I don't know if it answered your question. No one said not at all. 30,000. Does it answer your question? So the reason for Bernard like to proceed. So the request we have, we get a lot of requests from for a specific amount, $500, 500,000, 30,000. So the more question you ask, the higher the number. I would like to make progress on this file, but I don't know with the collaboration of the council here. I feel it's justified. The reason to do it's a regional project. Yes, you're absolutely right. We have some ancestors who are buried in this cemetery, and our heritage policy says that we should recognize like heritage sites, and that's what we're trying to do. And another important aspect for us, since it's a regional project, eventually I would wish like we have a project coming up, like a big project, like we will be asking for help and support from our neighbors. I'd like to have a collaboration that would be ready, like to make a motion. But I'm not ready, maybe for 30,000, but I wouldn't want it to go from 30,000 to zero. For now, it's a presentation. We're not taking any motions like at this moment. It would need to be done at another meeting. If a council member would like to bring a motion, it's the same. They have to give a notice of motion, indicate like what would be the subject, and then it can be discussed after. So we'll have a notice of motion for the next meeting, just to make some progress on the file, because I think it's the second or third time they're approaching us, and also they have a deadline because the last time like the motion was not made or seconded, so it just stayed like dead. The council did not say they were for or against it. And there were some discussion. We were not. We're looking for more information, more details. And I know you have great projects, like great heritage project to consider. For us, like we identify some funding sources to see what we would like to do. What's difficult is to get some money from the federal and provincial department for to purchase the land. Thank you very much for Mr. Richard and Mrs. Boudreau. And thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Mayor. And Happy New Year. And have a good election. Good luck on for the elections. So Mr. Richard is very familiar with elections at another level.
Donc, au prochain point, on n'avait pas de correspondance.
Next, we didn't have any correspondence. But for the reports from standing and special committees, first we had like the protective services. So this is the usual report we get, like with a few statistics. I see the fire chief is not here this evening. We will be able to ask some questions once he's there, he's present. In terms of mayor's report, I just wanted to tell, it was a little bit of less news like since last month. I made a report like in November. I just want also to mention a couple of items. It's not more complicated. As I mentioned, that mid-December, I will end my term. At the end of my term, I will not run again like to the municipal election. And so once in a while, like I meet someone, oh, I didn't know. I made the announcement, but I'm making the announcement again, essentially after 7 years like as a mayor and 14 years on the council, and saying like the mayor's role, it's not a role that takes less and less time. It takes more and more time, and I'm still working full time for many years to come. I'm not even close to retirement. So it's a little bit more difficult, especially the last couple of years, like to just to tackle the two. Like there's only 24 hours in a day. So that's why motivated like my decision. And this week, like maybe last week, I would say more. If you heard in the media, we were able to learn through the media. NB Power apparently, possibly, is planning like an electric central, like in Skoduk for natural gas. They made the announcement first in December 2024, and by the summer 2025, they said no, like it would be in Center Village. That would be closer, like to the Tentramar municipality of Tentramar. It was their decision. We had no consultation, and not even now. I do not have more information than what I read myself in the media. I did not have any communications from NB Power on this. And I know, like in the park, and the land, like owned by NB Power, is in the Skoduk Industrial Park. And it's an industrial park that is zoned for heavy industry. It's one of two parks or three parks that are zoned for heavy industry in the whole province of New Brunswick. And it's been same zoning for 25, 30 years at least. They purchased some land. They might develop something later, but they don't have any specific date or year. From what I understood, they said in maybe by in the 2030s. I don't have any more information. I had a couple of the requests for interview on this matter to see what is the opinion of the town of Shediac. Once it was never discussed with the municipal council, not before and now, so I could not give any opinion because we not familiar with this, and we do not know enough about this matter to give an opinion, to give a reaction just to hearsays, almost only rumors. So it becomes from an official from NB Power, so I understand, but it's up to them, like to explain in great depth, like when time will come. Right now, they have no plan. They don't plan to put anything there. The project is in Center Village for now, but that's the news I have for now. Next item, unless you have questions, I don't think I can see anything else. Special committee report. I know there were a couple of people. Usually we give the opportunity of council members who are part of the municipal committees to give an update. Councillor Peter Burrow. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the last meeting, I brought a point concerning like the problem with the phone system at the Shediac Regional Medical Clinic, and they were supposed to bring a resolution today. But 2 weeks ago, you asked me like to attend a new committee, to participate in a new committee with the Vitality Health Network, and this is a committee for primary health care for the region. It's to improve like the access to a primary health care. And on this committee, of course, they're all like people who work in the healthcare sector, but they ask someone from the town council as a person outside the healthcare system. And I took the opportunity to bring this problem like with the phone system. And I received an email saying that over the next 2 weeks, like the phone service of the Shediac Medical Center will be changed, will be a private company. I don't like the name of the company because the company is MAD.
Okay.
Yes, when you try to call. And they're saying this system was put in another healthcare center in the province, and 90% of the complaints were resolved. So they're very confident that they should solve the problem for the phones they're having with their phones right now, but they're also giving us some caution. There's only 100 openings per day, so it will not improve like the number of availabilities, but it will reduce the frustration of the individuals calling, and they go to the medical center. I've been 4 hours, I'm still been on hold, and I don't know what's going on. So they're saying by in the next couple of weeks it should be solved. So we don't need a motion. It was done, so we're very happy that this will be done. And Lison Albert, she's the manager for the health network. She's ready to do a presentation to the council, not necessarily on this specific item, because this item should be settled, but on to access to primary care. And she said she would be open to do a short presentation to the council to say like what they expect to do in the region. It was a very productive meeting, and I hope that like the phone system, it will be solved once and for all. So these are good news, because I got some echoes like from frustrated citizens. So if there's a way, instead of being on hold like for hours and only hearing like elevator music, well, they were saying the problem was the phone company was not able to change the music. So with this company, Solution MAD, so that's what they usually do, and it was done to a center with similar problem, and they say like 90% of those complaints were settled. At least we're optimistic, like we should get some improvement. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much, Councillor Rowe. Councillor Paul Boudreau. Yes, thank you. Bravo. Thank you, Peter. Just the 2 items, like the Chamber of Commerce that we met just before Christmas, and there are a new employee starting this week to help hand, and we will focus on recruitment of members, and they're preparing for the 2026 programmation. So we met also with the senior-friendly municipality. We met with Yet, so the committee members are very active. So we have 2 here in the room, and the next steps will proceed with a survey to know the needs of the seniors, like around activities in town. So that should be done in the spring. Very interesting. So these are 2 committees I'm involved in. Thank you very much, Councillor Boudreau. And Councillor Patricia Bourg-Savary. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will do a quick summary of our meeting of public safety. It was held on January 7th. There are 3 items like we discussed. We discussed of the fire department. The fire station is almost completed. Just a few little minor details to adjust. Everything's functional. Everything's okay. So the grand opening should be in the spring. Like the administration will prepare like the official opening with some activities, but they haven't chosen a date yet. We had discussion with the fire chief and confirming like the Shediac Fire Department is following like the provincial standards, and also like the delays for intervention. So the committee decided for now like an evaluation was not necessary to see if we could do anything else, because according to our fire chief, we are meeting the standards. So we decided we will see in the future what we will be doing. We talk also about this speed on the street. Frédéric explained the traffic policy. So we discuss about radars. The radars collect information, and then this information is sent. So if there are any problem, it's sent to the RCMP. And it did not take any note, but we already choose like the location of those radar summer, so I don't know if you want to share, like,
Well,
do you remember, if you remember, like, out of memory, but
C'est correct, là.
Il y a toujours la Beaubridge. là,
so
la
there's
Beaubridge.
only Beaubridge.
Il reste comme ménage.
Oui.
I think this one will be there permanent.
Je
But for the rest,
Saint-Anne.
I think there was Saint-Anne Street
Il y avait un
too,
autre là. Ça, on
and there was
a-
another one there. So
on a 5 à 6
every
streets,
summer we have 4 to
qu'on-
6
qu'on
streets,
utilise
like
que
we're
certains
using
qu'on
for
met focus
complaint
sur
system, and we
les
focus
panneaux.
where we have the
Et on
worst
met des panneaux, là,
locations, and we
sur-
install those radars and it's changed every month.
Je les avais pas pris en note, là, mais. Puis là, on a parlé de caméras, donc on a des caméras qui
We talked about cameras. There are cameras in our recreational centers,
Là, on va en installer à
and
l'extérieur
we've
de la
put in some
cour,
cameras outside of the arena,
du festival en
the
Valdiviello
festival arena
cette année.
in
Donc,
in 2026 and over this year.
de notre réunion.
Those were the main items covered during the Public Safety Committee meeting. Next one will be in March. Are there any questions, any topics you'd like me to raise for the next meeting? Please share that with me if so.
Merci beaucoup.
Great. Thank you very much.
Conseiller Renaud Cormier.
Councillor Leonard Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. Given that we're
des radars,
speaking about the radars,
est-ce qu'une des rues qui a été considérée
did you consider
euh,
a certain street? Did you consider,
la rue, à cause que notre la rue,
oh, what's the name of the street now?
Peut-être tu peux décrire l'endroit.
Maybe you can describe where it is.
Cornwall Point,
Cornwall Point?
pouvez-vous y considérer?
Could that be considered? Could you take that into consideration? I've received many complaints. I'm bringing it before council. People looking for the speed bumps, but it could give us a bit of a tool. When a citizen contacts me, I presume that it's a real thing.
On va parler à la personne qui est en charge de ça.
We'll talk to the people in charge of that. We can add it to the list.
Merci.
I thank you for that.
Parfait.
Great.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Un point.
Now, next item,
Notre directeur général.
the CAO's report. Mr. Leger. Thank you, Your Worship.
Bonne année, membres du conseil.
Happy New Year to you all.
C'est notre première réunion de
It's
la
our
nouvelle
first
année.
meeting of this new year.
Vous dire qu'en date d'aujourd'hui,
As of today,
111 jours
there
avant
are 111
l'élection,
days before we have the election
11 mai,
on May 11th.
réunion d'ici à l'élection.
8 meetings from here to the election.
Plusieurs
I'm assuming
décisions qui seront prises d'ici
many decisions will be made from now till then.
Pourquoi je vous partage ça? C'est
Why am I
parce
sharing that
qu'on
with
est
you?
déjà en train de préparer et
We're already
travailler,
preparing and we're already working on
sur programme d'orientation des
an
nouveaux-
orientation program.
On est déjà en train de préparer la documentation.
We're already preparing some documentation that will be provided to new councillors once elected.
Des sessions déjà planifiées,
There will
des
be
spectacles.
some pre-planned sessions
Mais,
on certain dates.
On a embauché une firme appelée Strategic
We hired
Steps.
Strategic Steps. This is a
Paraît familier.
company. If that seems familiar to you,
La conférence
they
UMNB
participated in a UMNB a conference many years ago. Craig Pollitt, for example, he talked about the challenges that exist in the system
dans le monde municipal.
in the municipal world.
Il va nous aider à faire un petit peu de
He will help
formation.
us to do some training with the new council.
Partie de cette,
One
de ce
part
partenariat ici,
of this partnership,
que ça serait,
we thought it would be a wise thing
organiser une
to
session avant l'élection.
organize a session before the election for any candidates who might be interested in running in the election, so they could know what is the role here. What should they expect if you do decide to put your name in the ring and you are chosen? That session is set out for 31 March, a good month and a half before the election, be it take place in the multifunctional center. Certainly still working on some details on the date and the mechanism that we will be using to register people who are interested. But it's certainly something I wanted to share with you, with council tonight. With now that we're starting, as we start the year, it's the end of another year. In the finance department, they are preparing the financial end of year for 2025 with our financial auditors. Also, I would remind the council that we concluded that we would look into testing the market, checking who would be our future auditors. We will, over the year, we will be preparing a call for proposals to receive some offers from various companies that might be ready to provide their auditing services to maintain some competitiveness among market suppliers. In terms of community life, here are a few files. Now, the recreational center. We presented the report to the council from BC2. We did this before Christmas. We're looking at finding a date to make a presentation regarding the potential site analysis. We foresee internally that we do a workshop next week with all of staff, all the people involved in the file, so that we can plan the next year and the next steps. But I think that it's Councillor O'Brien who suggested last year, in fact, to check, well, a potential meeting with the YMCA. The mayor had 2 meetings. I had a meeting with the YMCA group. I was very encouraged by their philosophy and what they might bring. It is certainly something that we will consider as part of our internal discussions. If a partnership in terms of that project, it could be encouraging. I've had preliminary discussions. It's odd. The same day that we met them, the FCM started doing, well, promoting some webinars with the YMCA group. So they seem to be interested and committed to community partnerships that could be beneficial throughout Canada. I think it's worthwhile to explore what could be offered with Shediac in terms of the recreational center. In terms of Pascal Poirier House, prior to Christmas, there was a group that showed an interest in establishing a type of partnership. We met that group before Christmas. It was a very productive meeting with the group. Obviously, if you've driven since the snow melted, the roof doesn't look like it did before. We added an additional membrane. It was something that we'd already planned on doing. There had been some small leaks in the building in October, one of the sections that we wanted to secure. But the availability of membrane, well, it wasn't overly accessible. We had to order it. Just before Christmas, we were able to do the whole roof, and it was very encouraging. The group was very encouraged. We were able to see to securing the roof of Pascal Poirier House. We invited the group to come visit the house inside, so they can see the condition of the house inside. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they were quite impressed with the inside condition of the building. The outside certainly might not look as good as the inside, but the inside is well protected. Practically the only things you might observe, maybe a little more dust than the last time than it was opened, but the inside of the building is well maintained. We continue to have regular site visits to ensure that the building is protected. This brings me to my next point. At the next meeting, we'd like to present our report from the internal committee with its recommendations. We plan on presenting that on the next meeting on February 3rd. Continuing community life, the Shediac Carnival is coming up. I would encourage council members to look at what's on scheduled and participate in the various activities that will be organized. In terms of the industrial park, many discussions have been had over the past few months, mainly with the Transportation and Infrastructure Department. We are planning that that file be done by March 31st, but I would say that we're trying to close it out before that date. The department intends to have it done by that date. I'd like Madam Councillor Brooke-Chevary. She talked about the fire hall. Just before Christmas, we received a certificate of completion. So now that we own the building, but there are a few items to finish so that it's completely done. But we're planning on having it open in April. In terms of signage, there are some cones that put in to replace 2025 or the 6. We haven't yet received the numbers. We ordered a series of numbers 6, 7, 8 over several years. We haven't yet received number 6. Once we receive it, we will install it. Without it, it would be good not to live 2025 and to remove it. It might lead to confusion. We also shared a few months ago one of the challenges surrounding our LED panels at either end of town. There were challenges around parts. We were able to repair them, but at the end of last year, we made a change in our supplier for telecommunications and cell phones. We got a better price, a more affordable price. And we had to change the cards inside of that, but there's a problem with that bell. They forgot to activate the cards that we put inside. But we're presuming that the challenges will be solved soon, and the panels will be back. By Monday, they're lit up, but we can't change them. We can't communicate. You can't say what to put on, what should appear on it. The council also, well, I'll give you a little report on the welcome signs in the various regions. These were that we had planned. We're currently working with Hansen Signs Company. They're getting the permits right now for the various sites that we identified, and we asked that the signs be placed prior to the end of April. Once the sites have been secured, they're ready to install them during winter time, if it's possible to access some of these sites. A few files upcoming: the trunk line. The submission for the trunk line, well, we finally we've done what we need to do, and the tender came out last week. So in a few weeks, we'll have the results for expanding the trunk line. There's also the study, the Plan 360 study, assessment of Plan 360 services, to see if we should offer our own planning services. We're trying to align a date with the consultant for a presentation, but we're planning that from here to the start of March that we'd be able to present that file. We're 8 meetings remaining that are set out, regular meetings from here to the election. It'll be a pretty busy legislative calendar, given the bylaw. There's some bylaws we want to present over the next few weeks. Procedural bylaw changes that we'd like to bring. The ethics code that has to be aligned with the new regulations. There are a few other bylaws as well that we are currently planning and preparing, and some community policies in terms of rates and some programs that we want to bring forth before the next election. Pardon me that my report is a bit longer, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. I thought it would be good to provide a more detailed report.
Merci bien, Monsieur le Directeur.
Thank you very much, Mr. CAO. I do have a questions, Councilor Cormier. Thank you for your report, Mr. CAO. Two questions. First of all, in terms of the signage, you're saying that we've already determined the places we want to place them. On several occasions, we've asked to get the information before we would go forward, and we do all of those things. I'm not saying that the places that you've determined, I'm not saying if whether acceptable or unacceptable. I'd like to see them. I'd like the council to see them before you do too much work. So don't come before us, well, it's too late. So before doing too much work on your end, we would appreciate seeing where you intend to place them throughout our territory, not just in some regions. Does Mr. Warden have some information? There's 9 signs in all that we're looking at. There are 9 signs. The places that are identified, there are no place that's identified that's 100% for sure. That it's not that the places are determined. With the zones are the entrance areas to the territory. They will do some surveying after, so to make sure that it's the right location, if we're following the regulations, all of those items, and some suggestions like Councilor Deputy made with the name of certain people for the Escudoka region. You might say those are still underway. I dare say that where we will put up the signs, or it's on land that belongs to provincial government. We could go outside of 60 feet and put it in the field somewhere. Well, no, I think let's not forget there's a right-of-way that exists on the part of the province. If you want to put the signage within that right-of-way, there are certain guidelines we have to follow. Here's an example. We can't put a sign 400 meters within 400 meters before or after an existing sign. That's just one example. The region is not fully identified, but the zone is at the edges of the various region, more or less 200 meters within or before. Can we be informed of the 9 regions that you've suggested to the company? Yes. We can send that. It's the zones, the coordinates for the areas, where I'd say the border of the Shediac territory is. Yes, we can. Thank you very much. If it can be visible on a map, it's already on a map. Yes, it's possible. I'm pleased to see that you're working on bylaws, especially the procedural bylaw that wasn't worked on, well, for several years. I would encourage you to form a committee. I don't think the procedural bylaw should come from the staff. I think that the procedural bylaw should come from the elected officials. It belongs to us. It's up to us. You can do some work, and we can and you can sort of pass it back and forth, and an election would come up, and you wouldn't have settled on the procedural bylaw. I would encourage, if we want to have, I'd be ready to participate. If we could have a working meeting, or your worship, I don't know how you'd want to call it, to know where you want to go and where we'd like to end up. Maybe we're at the same spot, maybe not. It is our municipal parliament, it's our bylaw, it's the guidelines that will be developed for the next council in May, if you'll allow. Obviously, the procedural bylaw is one of the mandatory bylaws under the Local Governance Act. There are a few things that have to be included within
À l'intérieur de l'arrêté.
Well, within the bylaw, they're mandatory. Obviously, those things they're not the question of discussion for council discussion, but the day that the council decides to meet, the frequency of meetings, that's up to the council. They could decide if we meet on Monday or Tuesday or a morning or an evening, what time. All of those things, obviously, we want council input. You will decide what works for you. Obviously, we'd like to make a recommendation in terms of the general content. After that, the council can choose the method that they would like to say, do you want X number of meetings or such and such a night? That's up to the council. We'll definitely take your point of view into consideration. If I do recall properly, there was a time frame within our strategic plan for the procedural bylaw. I don't quite remember when it was supposed to come, but it is set out. It's before the election. From here before the election. Before our last meeting that is set out for May 4. I continue to say that I hope that we'll have an opportunity to have a discussion of some sort between the council before everything is set out and put together, and you present a recommendation. I would like to see a discussion amongst the colleagues. There are issues, there are blockages. Some councillors, including myself, the process for making a motion to council is very complicated. And it's not as complicated in other councils. We've complicated our life. Maybe we want to keep it complicated, or maybe we want to make it less complicated. We should have that discussion, though. Thank you very much. Councillor Paul Boudreau, questions for on the CEO's report? Thank you for the Pascal Poirier House update and the openness and the work that's been done on that. I visited the home as well. I was very enthusiastic about it. Yves, you spoke about the multi-generational center. Could you come back to what you're proposing? I didn't really understand the meeting. What's the objective? The objective we want to organize in terms of where we are at, and where we want to be, but from here to the next year. We did an assessment of a few sites that we'd like to present to you, but that's independent. What are the next? It's irrespective of the next step. We had a discussion with a company called Colliers. They're managing the project. They manage many different projects, from design to build. So we met with them prior to Christmas. We'd like to have their viewpoint. What are the next steps? Are we missing something here? We want to set a timetable to present to the council. Something that we can follow, that we can bring to council and that they agree with. We're planning that meeting internally next week, and we foresee going before council in the weeks to follow. That's just what I heard, a very specific timeline. And I know it's a big project. There will be some unexpected factors that we can't control, but the timetable is important. Absolutely. And I added the feedback, the meetings that we had with the YMCA. We had the opportunity to visit their site. The mayor and myself did last week. It's quite impressive. And it's also in terms of seeing the type of partnership that they do with municipalities and type of infrastructure that they organize. Maybe we just know the Y in Moncton or in the North End, the new one or the old one on Vaughan Harvey. But the YMCA is an association that manages recreational complexes that are across the country, across North America, be they arenas or sports centers. It was a very interesting discussion to see what type of partner we might be associated with. It's really related to the municipal mandate in terms of the infrastructure they want to build. Very encouraging to see what the Y might be able to contribute. We have to consider options like that for our recreational center. Great, thank you.
Conseillère Patricia Book-Chevalier.
Councillor Patricia Brooke-Chevalier. Thank you, Your Worship.
Concernant nos arrêtés,
It's related to our
on a
bylaws.
voté pour aller de l'avant pour réduire le
We went
conseil.
forward
Il y
to
avait
reduce the
11
council to 9 councillors and 1
On
mayor.
avait parlé qu'il y avait à peu près dans 50%
And we said that 50% where the mayor had the voting rights. Will that just be done with the new council, or will this council decide? The new council will decide. We're recommending that new council establish the procedural bylaw that the new council will be using after May.
Donc, ça
So the current council adopt a bylaw that the next council will be using.
Puis ça fait partie
Is that part?
OK,
Absolutely.
merci.
Great. Thank you.
Conseiller Emile O'Brien, question.
Councillor O'Brien, question for the CAO. Thank you, Your Worship. Yves, as it relates to the YMCA, would it be possible to have the YMCA representatives make a council before council? They have showed some interest in doing a presentation here. If the council felt the need, yes, absolutely. If ever the council were to decide to go forward with a model with that type of a partner, one of the presentation by them would be recommendable.
Le YMCA, dans nos discussions,
The YMCA in our discussion,
on peut faire autant
we can do as much as you want or as little as you want. If you want us to be a partner, we do a small part. If you want to do us nearly everything, we can do nearly everything. It's to the degree to which you are comfortable. Okay. So it's not one size fits all. We'll give you the size you want, basically. Well, there's a lot of possibilities with that. We'll see. I'm curious, in terms of your conversations, do you talk financing with them? Listen, they were very preliminary discussions. They were saying what's possible and what we can't do. As the mayor said, obviously, they can act to a large extent or as little as we want. One of the people that we met with during our meetings is a person who is responsible for financing potential projects. So let's say that they already have expertise in place to finance certain projects, some credibility built into the model. That's why it's interesting to look at a potential partnership, and if the council decides to go that route. Great. Thank you. Councillor McElroy.
Just on the subject of bylaws, I'm just more than curious about what are the plans for the outdoor fire bylaw, noise bylaw, and
some of them are included in the ones that we're currently evaluating that we want council to study before the election.
okay, thank you.
Well. All right. Donc,
So,
prochain.
next item, recommendations from the Southeast Regional Service Commission, or Plan 360. We know them by their trade name.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Good evening,
Bichot.
Mr. Robichaud. Good evening, Your Worship, council members. Happy New Year. I have two new bylaws to present tonight. I'll start with this one.
C'est moi qui ai toussé.
No, I sneezed, sorry. Rezoning application by an individual named Michael Arsenault. Michael Arsenault, rather.
J'ai vu brancher quelque chose.
I saw him connect something.
C'est une belle fleur bleue, là. Je veux dire, ça dit rien.
It's a nice blue, but
Excusez-moi. Non, de rien, non.
Ça, c'est une demande de rezonage essentiellement.
So it's a rezoning application to allow
exploitation d'une
for
pit
the operation of a
sur
pit
Bateman Mill Road.
on
Juste commencer par
Bateman Mill Road. Just let's locate ourselves. It's in the former local service district of Shediac Cape on Bateman Mills Road. It's not in the old limits of Shediac. It's along Highway 11. So take note that take note of all the services are offered by the province, streets provided by the province. So the town of Shediac does not maintain roads up to that point. A little closer, you see the property in question. You see it in red. A few things to note. There's Bateman Brook, there's a water course, a little stream along the side of the property, and there's also wetlands and water courses that cross the property. North, there are two pits. They're active, and there's one to the west that is an old one that's no longer active.
The Bateman Mill Road
has a few uses residential and a few houses. At the northern part, they're not using the Bateman Mill Road to have access to the gravel pit. They're using the Beaubassin Road to access this gravel pit. Existing zoning is the rural zoning, which is the dominant zoning in this area, and the request is to rezone the part of the back part of the 220 to the same zoning we see in the name, which is intensive resource development, which is part of the Beaubassin West rural plan for gravel pits. And those gravel pits we discovered because it was already in operation. So we discovered it through the complaint of the citizens, the owner approached us. And just to be transparent and clear, there was a lot of activities on this property. And we see some pictures of the property to see what type of activities that were already done. And this is to show the access, to have access to the Bateman Mill Road. And there's a single family house very close to the access. And there seemed to be a problem with the visibility getting out of the access, but they prepare a visibility report. And the conclusion came that the visibility was good. So this is the master plan. So that's how we manage new bits. So I'm trying to explain so the property, as we said, it's the yellow line, it's the access where the trucks are going, and these are the setbacks for water and water courses and also wetlands. So there was already a permit that was given for culvert to cross this, and also the red line represents a setback of 30 meters. And in purple, that's the one we will be running, the pit. It's at the back of the property. Just for pits, there is a special permit system, and that we do at Plan 360. For pits, we give a permit to every year, and we have to verify a few things on pits to make sure they ensure they don't go too close to the property lines, and also to make sure they have the safety guards, to have fences, and also slopes that are not too steep. And just to tell you, Plan 360, we give those permits on an annual basis, and also we setbacks to make sure they have the setbacks from existing house, streets, and property lines. They have to follow all of this in the master plan. If they follow all the requirements in terms of this bylaw. So we did some consultations with the departments, provincial departments, and many gave some comments. So none gave any objections or it was mostly thing to consider. Even the Department of Environment said it would create some noise and dust because of the trucking, but they will not exceed the provincial standards. And the wetland branch, they said what permit was already given. The archaeological identify a site. It's a potential site to find something. So they would recommend to do a study. And the Department of Agriculture mentioned there's no agricultural land within 1 kilometer, and they had no objection to that pit. To conclude, well, this site is surrounded by existing pits. There are some environmental considerations, such as protection of wetlands, and also remove someone. And it's important also the Bait Mill Road has residential uses, and they will be part also on this street. With the trucking, it will have an impact. The closest residence is at 320 meters of the pit itself, and we saw the access goes directly close to those existing houses. And your options, well, you could either no decision will be made this evening, is to decide if you want to proceed with the public process. There will be a public hearing, which is typical in a rezoning request, or this evening you can simply deny the request or ask for more information and delay the decision to start the public hearing process later. If you decide to go to the public hearing, we'll have a formal recommendation of the PRAC committee on February 25th, and the public hearing will be held on March 16th, and also the readings could be done during this meeting, and the file could be concluded by April 7th, 2026 for the last reading. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Robichaud. As you said, it's not the approval for the rezoning. This evening, the council decides if they would like to start the process to consider a rezoning with a public hearing and 3 readings. Essentially, I see a few people they push their button for questions. It's to start a discussion or questions. I would still need a motion on the table, so that's the first thing to do. I don't know if anyone would like to read the motion, and then the council will decide either to vote for it or defeat it. So the motion should be in your package. Councillor Cormier would like to read it? Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas Council has received a request for a partial rezoning of the property identified by PID 703-28141 from RA, rural area, to IRD, to intensive resource development, to allow a new resource extraction activity pit. Therefore, be it resolved that Council review the file to determine whether it is in the public interest to amend zoning bylaw. Be it further resolved that the clerk, on behalf of the Council, requests the opinion of the Southeast Planning Review Committee pursuant to Section 110 of the Community Planning Act by March 9, 2026. Be it further resolved that the clerk, on behalf of the Council, arrange for public notice of the proposed bylaw amendment in accordance with Section 111 of the Community Planning Act, and that a public hearing be scheduled for March 16, 2026 at 6 o'clock in the Council chamber to hear comments from the public to the proposed bylaw. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Jean-Claude Bertin.
Avais-tu une question également?
You have any question? Possibly for Mr. Robichaud. A few questions. So the location of the pit, is there another access except the abatement road? Is it the only access? So that's the first recommendation of the staff. It would also to evaluate other access. So that's why it took a little bit of time before they brought it to the council. And ultimately, they were not able to find other access. other than the access on Bateman Road. And this gravel pit, is it still in function or did we stop to remove some some gravel from that pit? It was still in operation until very recently. I did an inspection myself last Friday, and I did not observe any operation when I visited. And my last question, what is the life of a gravel pit? How long, like, until you can extract any gravel or dirt? It's a good question. I do not have the specific answer. It depends how soon, like, the owner will operate his pit. So I cannot say the exact life time of pit. I did not see a whole lot of pit that would be decommissioned. Often those existing pit, like, they're still in operation today. How many acres do they have?
La partie qui exploite, là.
The part there in operation?
C'est plus ou moins 5 hectares.
It would be maybe 4 or 5 hectares. It's like 2.5 hectares, about 10 acres.
Oh, excuse-moi, c'est 7 hectares.
7 hectares. Thank you.
Councillor Steves.
Councillor
I
Steve.
think I've got more comments than questions, if that's all right. But, I don't support it. I feel that even some of the other pits that are there, they were there before some of the properties were sold as residential, and there's been some other homes and stuff built in the area since then. And there's already quite a bit of truck traffic on the, Bateman's Mill leading into Beaubassin Road, and it gets torn up and stuff in the summertime. I just feel that it's not the proper thing for that area, especially when there's already quite a bit of pit activity there. To use more property for that, I don't think it suits the area, especially with it being not too or fairly recently subdivided and sold off as residential lots.
Thank you. Conseiller Emile O'Brien.
Councillor O'Brien. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to be sure I understand what they're asking us. I'm looking at the zoning map and the one with the PID number. So today, is it part of that pit or is it separate? I have it. It's not there. I'm not sure I understood your question properly. So this is the part they would like to rezone. So they're asking, yes, so that's where they already started, like, to operate the part in gray. To rezone it to continue, to see what they already did legally.
So
if it's dumping happening there, so will they stop it, or? So in the neighborhood, they don't want it to go further? What is the actual zoning? It's a rural zoning, RA. It's for agriculture and it would switch to intensive resource development. So this is a request we have. So yes, it could be done for a pit. They want to use it for a pit. I'm like John, I will not support this because there's dumping happening there. And it's part of the environment. And we don't know what they are dumping there. Just to say, I will vote against this. I will not support this. And I'm hoping so will they have, like, will any dumping be allowed in this section? I don't understand, like, today it's still being done. Like,
c'est permis par le plan rural de Beaubassin-Ouest.
It's in the Beaubassin-Ouest rural plan. So when they do, like, so we have the opportunity to change this, like, we have, and stop this dumping. I see this as an injustice because we don't know what they're dumping there. So this is my opinion, and I'm with Councillor Steve. Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. I'm trying to repeat myself. So
Conseillère Patricia Bourg-Chevrier.
Councilor Patricia Bourg-Chevrier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Qu'on avait là, t'as dit qu'il y avait
So
deux
on the drawing we had, you said there were two pits, like
Plus au
plus haut.
nord, ouais.
Voilà.
Ouais, là.
a little bit higher. Is it the same owner? Two different owners. So these are two different owners. So there was one on the left side. It's another owner. I thought it was the same one. I was wondering why they wanted another one. And Councilor O'Brien, like the dumping. So what? I thought that the pit you would get like some dirt and you would bring it like so they're dumping something there. I'm not sure what they're dumping. Dumping is not allowed. So if ever like they cannot use it like a scrapyard or a landfill or a dump or because sometimes will be like some fill, clean fill, or that would be allowed. But to use it as a dump or to put like old appliances, it wouldn't be allowed. Thank you.
Conseiller Cormier.
Merci Phil pour.
Thank you, Phil, for your presentation.
Juste clarifier, m'assurer.
Just to clarify, to make sure I understood properly.
Si qu'on va de l'avant avec.
If we go forward with the process and the council decides what they want to do, if we say yes,
il y a quand même pas de dump. Ça, c'est illégal.
There's no dumping. It's not legal. As Mr. is asking for a rezoning, so the dumping is illegal if it's happening. No, it's not it's not for a landfill site or anything. If we say yes, like to a pit, there's no dumping. It will not be like some kind of a landfill. How long is that pit been in existence without a permit? It's maybe quite new. I would say at least 1 year. And the only way we notice this is because some residents of the region complain. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Councilor Cormier. You want to say the same thing, or Mr. CEO? It's more a question I have for Phil. And of course, it cannot be used like for a landfill site or with a pit. Could it be used for to store the clean fill or some kind of material such as dirt, gravel that doesn't come from the site? Is it a use they could have?
Précision pour conseiller Cormier, nous,
maybe a precision for Councilor Cormier, but the administration, we started to get some complaints from the residents in this region. I would say last spring. So we're talking maybe March, April, May. It started like over the summer. We had a lot of communications. Often these are the same individuals, but usually there's not a ton of residents there, but we still got quite a few complaints. Councilor Peterborough, yes, I would still like to for the motion to go through because we need to get like the advice from those individuals. And from what we heard this evening and the study of the file they will be doing on this file, so we'll be able to decide if yes or no we want to stop the projects. I think that's we owe it to the developer, but it does not prevent like to stop the process. But I think we should get like the opinion from the commission, and if the commission sees the same things as the rest of the council, we could stop it then. But I think we should accept the motion at least to get the opinion of the department in order to make like a decision, but a wise decision. Two others. Councilor McElroy.
Thank you, Mayor. I disagree. I think that what we have is an illegal operation. Residents in the area who are adversely affected have complained about the illegal operation. So the operator says, what's the remedy here? Go legalize it. So we come to council and say, will you folks start the process to make this legal, what I'm doing and what those folks don't like that I'm doing? To me, that's a big decision. we can't predict what the PRAC committee is going to do or what position they're going to take. If we feel, and I certainly do, that it would be wrong to proceed, given what we know at this stage, and given the presentation, the way I read it, I think that we have to make a decision here tonight. And I'm going to vote against having the process proceed.
All right, thank you. Monsieur le greffier.
Je voulais simplement
Mr. Clerk, I simply wanted to mention for the process, yes, there will be a public hearing, but there's also the 3 readings. But we have to keep this in mind. But once after the public hearing, even if we go ahead with the process, like Councilor Bourg was saying, we still have the option, like after the public hearing, there will be the first 2 readings, there will be a 3rd reading in April. So during the entire process, the council could decide to end the process, just something to remind you. Mr. CEO, maybe it's just to add, like, of course, if the council does not choose to go forward with this request, but there's still also the matter of compliance, and this file will have to go back in front of the council, so the council can decide how they want to deal with this file. We do not have any letters or compliance. What is the process? But they're non-compliant, and that's why he's submitting this request.
Merci, Monsieur le Directeur.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Mr. Councilor Després. I'm not saying I'm for or against, but I don't have a problem for the request. I agree with Peter. We have a pit in Scodoc. It's been going on for years, never had any problems. But I'm against any illegal dumping. It's not allowed. If they do it, it should be stopped. And we should keep in mind, like the pits, they're not as common. And with development, we need some dirt. If we have to go farther, it costs more. So I think we should go forward. Don't do the study. The public can give their opinion, and then we'll make a decision after. So this is my opinion. Councilor Jean-Claude Bertin. I kind of agree with Peter and Joel, because the reason is like a pit. I got some land and I had a pit, a gravel pit. As the guy was saying, like, I don't know if he knew he needed a permit, but in the countryside, like I knew before, like you could do a lot of things. You could build garage, and nobody was saying anything. So Travis Pitt, at the time, he didn't think he needed like a permit. I think we should stop the process. I would like to get more information. There were pit and batteries. It was backfilled with a really nice dirt. Things that came to other development. Now they have some houses built on that pit. I don't think we should stop the process, but maybe to get more information before we say no. Last one, Councilor Paul Boudreau. I would vote to continue the process. I do not. I'm like Joel to have more information. Thank you. Mr. Deputy Mayor, could you replace me for 1 second? Mr. Casey, yes, I'm leaving you the floor. I had the opportunity, as I always said, I will never tell you how to vote. Vote as you wish to do so. That's not the problem. I had the chance to talk to a few residents, and from what I understand, the operation, like some was done, as the pictures can attest.
Sans avoir demandé pour un permis.
Without asking for a permit. In terms, were they aware, were they not aware? It's not something as a second nature, like for most of the people, but the same owner got some permits, like from the Department of Environment for the water courses, those water permits. He got them in June. He asked before, and you ask for a water permit. It's not a matter like you ask on a Monday and then you get it on the following Thursday. It takes longer than that. I'm saying if there's one thing There's something that was missing on this operation. They could have get organized to do it properly right from the beginning. I don't have a lot of pity for people who are not organized. This is my opinion. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Je ne ferai pas de commentaire là-dessus.
So they will not be making any comments. So on this note, since I think there will be a little bit of division on the vote, I would ask to vote by raising your hand. It will be easier to count. The motions on the table, it's been all in favor to continue the process. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 5, 6. Those against, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's simple. I don't have any pity, so I'll be voting against. On the next one. In terms of 10.2, Mr. Robichaud. Good evening. It's another rezoning request. It's essentially the same thing that we present the preliminary detail, and we will decide if you want to proceed to the next step. This one, it's in the old Shediac, and so to allow like 11 multifamily units of 12 units each. So it is a rezoning to R3. So to situate, we are on the Code Bellevue, so we see the property. It's a circle in blue. And if we go a little bit closer, it's on the intersection of the future Beaubridge Street that is still being built. It's in red, and the intersection between like the new roundabout. So we did not get like a recent aerial picture. So that's why I have those pictures. So this is like the pictures of the property just to locate you. So it's going towards the Shediac Bay up to the roundabout, and the property in question is at the left hand side at the corner. So the actual zoning, it's a R2 that allows a maximum of 6 units. And the majority of the neighboring properties, they have like the same zoning. But just to remind you, like the council, either next year, the year before, accepted like zoning to R3 to allow like 3 buildings of 12 units. So it's a similar request to R3. This is like an example of what the buildings would look like. So these are 3-story building, 12 units. So it's 4 units per floor, and each unit has, so they're facing like the 2 sides with some decks, and there are some stairs inside the building versus outside. And this is like the localization plan that's being presented. So we see like the 11 buildings, 12 units each, and go up to 132 units. So I would like to bring to your attention the majority of the buildings, they're close to the street. It's what the bylaw is trying to do, like with the parking behind. So they also have doors accessible to the building directly from the street. And we see like the parking spots are all behind the building. They're a little bit more hidden, so it will give you a better appearance like to the building, because the buildings will be parked at the back. And to maximize like the potential of the lot, they're proposing like 4 additional buildings more at the back of the property. And the developer, they want to do it like in phases. They will start with phase 1 that will be facing Bellevue Street. So they would like to build two buildings first, and then 3 other buildings, and another 3, and the last 3. So they want to do it like in phase 1 phase per year, more or less. It might change like over time, but that's what they gave us. And they gave us a phasing schedule that shows like how the property will be developed. So the request this evening is to change the zoning from R3. And there are 3 zones that allows for multifamily dwellings, so there's no limit on the number of units, and there's a maximum height of 15 meters, and it's about 4 stories. And it's under the maximum, so the maximum height there would be 3 stories. So it would be more like between mid and high density. And the council has the option to limit also the density. So if they wanted, as a condition, if they didn't want to have like bigger buildings on this property, they could add their conditions so the project be limited, or also attach some kind of density to the land. So we consulted with all the provincial departments, the provincial department, because the Shediac limit, they didn't have a lot of comments, but the Shediac Sewer Commission, so they gave some important comments. First, if the projects goes for if they depend also of the new trunk line. So they, as you alluded today, but however, they mentioned the building A, B, and C could be accommodated with the existing services. So the council could add some conditions to allow some buildings in the near future. So they cannot go further than some infrastructure. So the town of Shediac was development like a method to recuperate some costs for the Beaubridge Street. So there will be a development charge bylaw. So this property was identified as a property that would be subject to those development charges. We do not have all the details or to share with the council. This project was developed by the town of Shediac and eventually presented to the council. But just to say in the background, we had some conversation with the engineering department, and they would have to consider some elements, the compensation for the construction of the street, and that would have to be part of those conditions. The town of Shediac is also saying a traffic impact study would be required for this a project of this magnitude. Just to conclude, like it's located in a corridor that we already see it's a growth with the new school, with the school nearby, and also at the west there was a lot of density, and this project it comes parallel with the improvement of the infrastructure of the town of Shediac with the trunk line, and also like the new Beaubridge Street. It will increase the capacity of what could be accommodated in Shediac. And also with Beaubridge, it gives also like other circulation avenue to help to direct the traffic and create a low impact. And this lot is big enough. It's a 2 acres, and this project is taking advantage of the size of the lot, and this sector was already recognized for rezonings, and this sector is part of the municipal plan, encourage like a higher density. So it's coherent with your municipal plan, and the principle dictates. So the options are the same. You can proceed, denied or delay, and this is the proposed timeline would be the same date as the other rezoning, a public hearing on March 13, would have a recommendation February 25th, and then you can conclude the project on April 7 if you want to proceed with it. But this would conclude my presentation. Thank you very much. So the last time, we still need a motion on the table. This is Deputy Mayor. Would you like to read? Thank you, Ms. 10.2 Z-14-44-65Z. Whereas Council has received a request to change the zoning of the property identified by PID 00866491 from the median density residential zone R2 to the high density residential zone R3 in order to allow for 11 multifamily dwellings, each with 3 stories each, comprising 12 units. Therefore, be it resolved that the council review the file to determine whether it is in the public interest to amend the zoning bylaw. Be it further resolved that the clerk on behalf of council requests the opinion of the Southeast Planning Review Committee pursuant to Section 110 of the Community Planning Act by March 9, 2026. Be further resolved that the clerk, on behalf of council, arrange for public notice of the proposed bylaw amendment in accordance with Section 111 of the Community Planning Act, and that a public hearing be scheduled for March 16, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the council chamber to hear comments from the public to the proposed bylaw. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by the Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette, seconded by Councilor Paul Boudreau. Questions on the motion? I just have a question before I leave the floor to others. So in terms of the number, like unit, was it specified like in some information or maybe not yet? I think it was two.
Une chambre et deux chambres.
It was 1 or 2 bedroom units. I was just curious. Councilor Janice Cormier, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's not a question, it's more of a comment. As the last request that came to the council in 2025, at the end of 2025, I cannot support to continue to rezone, to continue to build apartment building in the town of Shediac. There's already too many apartments that are not rented. As long as I don't see a report that this is the request and this is what we need, unfortunately, I cannot continue like to build and then they're not filled. In my opinion, it's not because it's not a nice project. It seems to be a good project, but I know we're talking about taxes. But in my opinion, I'm still convinced I cannot continue to accept like we continue to build apartments after apartments because we have a lot of apartments that are not rented. Already discussion you hear on the street, like maybe some owners, they will not be keeping their apartments because they cannot fill them. They cannot rent them. So in my opinion, I cannot support this. Not for today, and I think there's some infrastructures need to be put in place. Our roads are just solicited enough and the streets to open. And once the trunk sewer needs to be done and the town should focus before they can get infrastructure like this. So this is my opinion.
Merci.
Thank you.
Councilor Paul Boudreau.
Councilor Paul Boudreau. Phil, you referred like to the infrastructure. Fred or Danny, if you can. In order to accommodate like 132, we're talking about the trunk line, we're talking about like Bow Bridge, will help a lot for traffic. Are we able to accommodate another 132 units? The majority of the project will depend on the Bow Bridge Street to be completed and also like the completion of the trunk line. But we got some confirmation for the Shediac Sewer Commission and with the existing infrastructure, with the 2 or 3 buildings could be built like a short term. And in the meantime, long term, to see like that all the infrastructures are being built and eventually we could get guarantee.
Okay, merci.
Thank you. That's all.
Councilor Germaine Galland.
Councilor Germaine Galland. I totally agree with Janice. Like there's so many empty apartments. I cannot go forward with this. So I will be voting against.
Councilor Emile O'Brien.
Councilor Emile O'Brien.
Phil, avez-vous une recommandation, vous autres, pour ce projet?
You have any recommendation for this project? As a formal recommendation, but the PRAC has to do it. But I think this file is very well developed. We have a lot of information and infrastructure. And in your municipal plan, like you have some goals. And in your opinion, this project meets like the vision. Recommendation would be to go to the next step. Before we make a decision, but I think it would be worthwhile like to start with the process. If I understand well, like it's a corner of Bellevue and Rowan. So that whole area would be
12 appartements, parce qu'il y en a 10 blocs d'appartements.
Graduellement sur plusieurs années, mais oui. Ouais.
Moi, personnellement, Zoning de
Personally,
Personally, to
to
go
zone
R2
from
to
R2 to R3, I have a hard time with that.
J'aime avoir du R1 parce que
I like to see R1.
c'est là où-
There's no more R1 in town. There's nearly no more R1 in town. What Janice is saying is true. So many apartments that are not full in town. So far, I'm not supporting. Despite your recommendation, it's like, oh my God, holy jeez. I think there can be too much. The apartment block, apartment unit, apartment building after apartment building. Look good on paper. There's going to be a lot of people on a little piece of land. Long term, you never know how it's going to go. Just to say, just a reminder that it's a sector with big investment in infrastructure. So to take advantage of all that infrastructure is projects like this, where there's more density on a small footprint that brings more land tax revenue. We see it as a good spot for increased density. It's not like big apartment blocks that you see elsewhere in town. It's of a lower scale, 12 units, 3 stories each. Thank you.
Merci, Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien.
Il y en a deux qui l'ont. Ça m'a juste mis-
Two-
C'était bien quelque chose que Monsieur le Directeur
Maybe
nous
it's something that
parlait.
Mr. CAO wants to speak to us.
Assessment
Our housing needs assessment study,
de 2 ans passés.
dating back 2 years ago or so,
parlait de combien
it spoke about how
on peut
much,
estimer à peu près
well, we
combien
can estimate
construit.
how many were
Ce qui a
built,
été construit, regarde, c'est
what
peut-être
was built,
certains
well,
appartements d'un certain-
maybe some apartment
certains
buildings,
loyers plus luxueux.
certain with some more luxurious rent. I'm not sure if it's the same type
En
here,
termes de chiffres, combien
but in terms of the numbers, how much did it say we needed? I don't remember the exact number. I don't have it before me. It was pretty big, and we needed densification. I'd like to stipulate something around this discussion, if you'll allow, Your Worship. The market that the developer is seeking right now, it's a mid-market. It's what they call mid-market. It's not a high-end market. So we're looking at what was built in the last few years. It was higher value in terms of rent per month. These people are, what they're proposing is more mid-range. It's more affordable. That's how they're doing it. You'll see that there are more coming into that market. It's an existing market. And I'll say why it exists. It's great to have R1 and single-family dwellings. We will promote that. But the affordability today, it's not affordable for a big part of the society. Those are your children, my children. They need a place to live. And as a community, we look at our municipal plan. It's part of the municipal plan. The investments that we pushed for the trunk line for Bro Bridge to expand is to accept this type of development and to move forward this way. I'm not saying that there's a lack of R1. Councillor O'Brien, it's a good comment you made. Certainly be covered as part of our new municipal plan in terms of zoning. There's discussions internally with the planning committee to cover those things that are coming in the future. But for today, when you meet developers, we didn't see any red flags, as you're seeing. You have the pulse of the people on the street. We appreciate hearing it from you. But it's a market that you're going to see that's going to be that's going to be more popular than what the developer is presenting today. And it wants to do it by phase. It wants to make sure that it gets filled. If the market is there, he's not going to continue by phases. It's like anyone. He will invest when the market is suited to investment. He might go to a first phase, a second, third, fourth, etc. Otherwise, we risk having, it's R2 right now, you get row housing again. That's what would probably be in that region. It's up to you. Those are the options you have before you right now. Thank you.
Councillor O'Brien, oui.
Councillor O'Brien, last comment. I don't think it's fair. If we don't build this, we're going to have row houses. That's R2. That's why I'm saying it. But R2, he can make single dwellings too. It doesn't just include. Sorry, but I don't appreciate the comment you've made. The comment that you've made, if we don't build this, we're going to get row housing. I don't think it's a fair comment. But anyway, I'm not attacking you. If you'll allow, Councillor O'Brien, R2 does allow row housing. That's why I spoke about it. Maybe that's not what is done. It does allow single-family dwelling. R2 is not all row housing. There can be condos as well. I might add to that, just to add to Danny's comment, was trying to say it's a large lot, it's a deep lot. It's like typical row houses. It's built close to the street, and you lose the back part of the lot. R3, you can build many types of many buildings on the lot. Bellevue are big, deep lots. This allows us to take advantage of the unique shape of the land on Bellevue and to build more units rather than just have one building in front. With R3, there are more options. I think it's basically what Danny was meaning to get to. That's a lovely exchange of information. Councillor Peter Bro. Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to make some comments as to what my colleagues have said. I agree with their comments, but I don't think it's up to the council to decide the market, that whether the apartments are empty or full. It's not up to the council to decide. It's up to the market to decide. It's part of our strategic plan. We see what's important is to direct orient our town to make sure that the buildings are in the right spot. We've already identified that sector as an ideal place for this type of location. Mid-market is what we need for our region. We can't prevent the development of our town. Everyone would love to have that small town feel, but unfortunately, it won't stop there. It will always increase in size. But what's important for the council is direction that we want, to not have that type of building at spots that are very specific. As part of our strategic plan, we clearly show where we want them, and that building is clearly in the right spot. I can't see. I understand. Maybe there are a lot of apartments that are empty right now, but it's really not our role as a council to determine the market. The market, it's investors who are responsible for that, for the market. I think that the important thing here is to make sure that the buildings are put in the right spot. That's our role, and we have identified that location for that type of development. I can't see that we wouldn't go forward. That we wouldn't go forward with this proposal, Your Worship. Thank you. Well, thank you. Councillor Germaine Galland. Thank you, Your Worship. Danny, what makes you say that it'll be affordable once it's up? The developer is here. If you'd like, we can invite to speak himself. I won't speak for him. It's a type of construction that they're doing. There's no elevator. It's typically, it's more mid-bracket rent, and that's how the developer is promoting it. I have no control over rent for anybody in the municipality. It's affordable. It's the style of development. It's mid-bracket. It's not affordable housing. It's mid-bracket housing.
Okay. It's not 2,500 a month. It's quite a bit less. Well, you'd imagine. Councillor Laurent Cormier. Thank you. Your Worship, I'd be a bit disappointed if we said no for this. I do respect the opinion of my colleagues. I understand. I don't disagree with what they're saying. But the town, I don't think that we can send a message to developers that we're closed for business. I know that everyone would like to have R1s. Developers that I speak to, when we talk about R1, they say, Roland, if I build R1, nobody will buy it because I'll be asking too much money for it. My infrastructure system, the lot, and nobody can buy my house. That's why I am building apartments or other things that are being developed. Unfortunately, in 2026, the owners who want to invest in all towns, not just in Shediac, they need to maximize their investments. I find it a good thing that he wants to come to Shediac to invest here. I wish him all the best luck in the world, all of the success in the world. And if at some point he were to make some bad decisions in terms of investments, the building will remain there for someone else who wants to buy it and who will continue. The apartments, if somebody loses the building, the apartment will continue. But I wish him all the success in the world. I don't want to come invest here and that he loses a shirt. But I know that we're worried about R1s. I'm one of those. But when we talk to developers, I hope that we go forward with this. We've invested millions in that region. We need to maximize to earn back the money that the town has invested. There are other projects that are coming up, big projects that are coming up. And the development will pay for has to pay for those big projects. Not one of those who's ready to support an increase to municipal taxes in all regions. This means that the way that we pay for our projects is development. If we say no to development, maybe we need to change our mind about how we approach our other projects. I am confident that the PRAC will propose something and we'll look at it. I will certainly be voting for moving this file forward. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Cormier. Councillor Patricia Brooke-Chevary. Thank you, Your Worship. Phil, is it all R2 in the four corners of the roundabout? Yes. Was this R2 even before we did the Bro Bridge? Well, we're working on the expansion of Bro Bridge. It was always R2? If ever someone, let's say from that lot or another lot, they wanted to do R1, there must be limits as to you put your driveway from the roundabout. Maybe that's why it's more ideal for R2. Are you following what I'm trying to say here? There has to be some setbacks. You can't just put it at the corner of a roundabout. So we're going to lose some development, land for development if it's R1. Yeah, you would certainly lose some. So with R2, you're saying that it more maximizes more or R3 and even more? Okay, thank you. It's a good comment. What comes to mind for me, we say that Bro Bridge Street would be a semi-collector road. It already is. And it will free things up there. I can't see R1 with a driveway on Bro Bridge. It seems to me you don't want that. There'd always be too many cars. You'd never send your kids to play in front of the house. In my mind, another type of development than R1, it'd be up to the council to see if we continue with the process. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, thank you. I find it's the ideal spot to build this. It's on top of the hill. It's in front of the schools. It would be very close. And people are looking for something affordable. I agree with the project. I think it's a beautiful project. Thank you, Councillor Joël Després. I was more aligned against this project, but I found some great comments around the table. Opinions went from one side to the other. I will be voting for it tonight to get the recommendation from Plan 360 from the Prague. Thank you. Great. Thank you. So, those are all the comments. So, this was duly moved and seconded, yes? Sylvie moved. So, I see there's a bit of division. All those in favor, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those against. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion carried. Thank you. So that triggers the process, at least. Nothing under unfinished business, nothing under new business. But number 13, request for information by council members for items that we haven't discussed yet. It's Councilwoman O'Brien. Thank you, Your Worship. A few comments to make related to the fire department. I recently celebrated the efforts of 5 of the members, given the number of years of service provided. Deputy Chief Laurent Leblanc, he retired, 50 years of experience, and he beat all records in terms of years of service with that fire brigade. The record was 40 years of service. He beat a former member of the department, Mr. Fred Bryant. Second person that I'd like to mention is Lieutenant Ali Richard. He's still an active member in the brigade, 35 years of service to the town. And the third person, third name, Fireman Joe Leblanc, active brigade member, celebrating 30 years of service. We also had the new Deputy Chief, Julien Boudreau, who remains an active member of the brigade, 15 years of service. And the fifth and last is Fireman Chris Wad. He earned Fireman of the Year, Firefighter of the Year. I congratulate the 5 firefighters for their accomplishment, and thanks to all volunteer firefighters in support of their family. That's very important for exceptional service and in their engagement in protecting our community. That's all for me, Your Worship. We see that it's a former firefighter on the table. I had seen the same things on social media. We always thank our fire brigade for everything they do. One of our honorary firefighters in the room who was a firefighter. I thought it was important to publicly recognize this. It's a great idea. Thank you. Councillor Paul Boudreau. It's an update to the director for the trails that connects Shediac, Dieppe, and Moncton. Where are we? The trail was an update for that? Is there an update? Otherwise, I can get the answer later. Well, I just actually spoke to the person responsible for the project today. The design work continues to advance properly. Now, they're in the nitty-gritty of the width and what the materials we use is really advancing well, progressing well. From then, they'll be able to know how much it will cost to build a bridge, and they'll be able to assess the work to be done this year or next year. So it's up to them. It's more in the spring. So any progress will in the spring, there'll be more information. In terms of how it's advanced between Scoudouc and they're still under talks. All the landowners have been in communications with the various levels of progress. Thank you very much. Same thing with Julie. I saw on Facebook there was a launch for the study. Great study. Congratulations. Can you explain what is the scope? What will you be assessing? Is it a playground, all spaces? I thought it was pretty elaborate. I thought that the timeline was a bit tight. By the end of April, big exercise. At the same time, I'm asking a question, does it include all of Greater Shediac? The facilities in Pointe-Duchesne and Scoudouc? There's no report submitted in April. The report should only come at the end of September for the budget to tarry time in 2027. We do need to make time for public meetings. So the master plan says it. It includes all that is recreation in the municipality, our facilities, the various organizations and the services are provided, what we have to accomplish, and it's based on trends and national standards. We have to assess what national standards are, and based on the level of development of the municipality and our clientele in Shediac, the type of population that we have in Shediac. Are we meeting all of their expectations and their needs? Are we meeting the organization's needs? So you'll be consulting community groups and citizens? Yes, exactly. Oh, great. Thank you very much. That's all. Mr. Leger has something to add. If you'll allow, Councillor Boudreau, as related to the master plan, it meets a specific item in the strategic planning that we identified in 2026, thanks to the staff team. Okay, next item. We didn't have any bylaws to propose tonight, but a few motions. 15. First of all, 15.1, repairing the tennis courts. Apparently, need a bit of TLC. Who wanted to give the background on this one? I can do it. So it's a topic that is often spoken about around the table, the importance of maintaining our courts. There was assessment done at the end of 2024, and the budgets didn't allow that for 2025. So we made the necessary repairs to make sure that the courts could be safe and secure. The courts are still secure, but they won't last for very, very long. So we need to be able to resurface the courts. In the estimate that you've received, in the information, there's lots of information, details around each of the courts. There's things that we can do internally that will eliminate from the costs incurred. What is optional is the mesh around the courts. It's still in great shape. Let's put optional, given its age, but when you assess that material, it's still in great shape. So we're going to keep our eye closely on that inventory for the future. So we recommend to go forward with the bare necessity, what is necessary, and that what we can't do internally. Councillor Joël Després, you want to read that? 15.1, tennis court repairs. Given that the town of Shediac has requested the services of a Playtech to carry out repairs to the tennis and pickleball courts, and that $172,500 has been allocated for this purpose in the 2026 budget. Be it resolved that the firm be hired for a total amount of $166,590 to carry out the work in the fall of 2026. This amount excludes optional items, encapsulated mesh, and pressure washing, which will be carried out by the town's maintenance team. I so move. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin. Any questions? Councillor Paul Boudreau? Congratulations. They're going to be great courts. I've seen some tennis courts where they paint pickleball lines to incorporate both. Was that discussed? With the collaboration between the groups, if there is a major pickleball tournament, for example, they could use a tennis court. We had a meeting in the past with both groups, everybody sitting around the table to make it very transparent and promote good communication. The level of tennis tournaments does not enable other types of lines. It's something that we'll continue to say. It's the main reason why we can't have pickleball courts on their courts. We also want is to promote development of tennis as well. We're asking them to create programs to develop their members. So that remains that way. So in terms of pickleball, any community members, we invite them to propose initiatives to develop pickleball. The town has developed some lots or courts. If they need other facilities, the organizations can undertake their own project.
Yeah. Non, c'est proposé appuyer. Non.
Moved and seconded.
Tous en faveur.
So all those in favor shall say aye.
Contre, non.
Motion against, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 15.2, Shediac Hall of Fame. Who would like to put the establish what's going the background here? Councilor Patricia. I was going to read it. I wasn't part of the committee. It's the person who is supporting us for this is not here tonight. One of the other employees. I'll provide some background. Nearly every year, we try to acknowledge people for their good works and their efforts and success. There are many categories, be it sport, volunteering, entrepreneurship, business. We added ambassador category this year. Somebody who has really made Shediac shine outside of Shediac. That we didn't, something we wouldn't have necessarily seen as much in Shediac itself. So the committee met. I was there as a member. I'm a member of all committees. And we chose two people. So I'll let Councilor Patricia Bookchevry read it. Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved, the Municipal Council accept the recommendation of the Shediac Hall of Fame Selection Committee. Be it further resolved that the Community Life Department contact those who submitted nominations, as well as those who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councilor Patricia Bookchevry, seconded by Councilor Emile O'Brien. Mr. Clerk is, Mr. Warden is saying that those people have not been advised yet. We weren't revealing the identity. It would be a bit odd, but the council members can see it in their own report. Any questions? I have a question. When will the presentations happen? April 23rd. Thank you, Councilor O'Brien. I thought it was in the spring. Are we doing, is it related to another activity? We did that before. It will just be this. We'll acknowledge volunteers during Volunteer Week. The idea was to separate both events. So we're separating them. That's great. Thank you. Councilor Peter Breau, a question, Your Worship. And initially there were 4 candidates. I saw that there were 2 that were eliminated. Oh, the 2 that will be selected, or is it one of the 2? The two candidates in the report to be chosen are recommended by the committee. So 2 will appear. Great. Usually the committee chose 3 on average. Nothing said in the procedures that it was a maximum of 3, but they chose 2 this time. Councilor Emile O'Brien. Thank you, Your Worship. A few comments for the Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank Julie and Liette for the work that they've done on this file. They redid the entire framework, and we succeeded in selecting 2 candidates. One male candidate, one female candidate. Well, everybody's, it's 50-50 chances. So I'd like to thank them. They did great work. I'm very pleased. The committee work went really well. It's all praises from my end. Councilor Janice Cormier. I was at 15.3 to read that. No problem. I'll come back to you. So with that, all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay.
Adopté. Merci.
Motion carried. Thank you. 15.3, contract award for an articulated sidewalk tractor. It's a new word I've just learned. In November, last November, we took the 5-year plan. There was a 2026 budget. We identified that there was a need we needed to replace one of our pieces of articulated machines for the sidewalk. Town of Shediac has 3. One of them is quite old, put in the budget to replace it this year. We started the process. It was a point system. We started in November to identify the assessment chart, grid. We went to RFP to receive proposals from various suppliers. We gave them 1 month, so enough time to make sure that we included everyone. We received 4 proposals on January 13. And then in the afternoon of January 13, we assessed each proposition. 3 assessors did this. And the one that we identified as the winner is Atlantic Coastal Equipment with the McLean MV6. And just to refresh people's memory, in the 2026 budget, we identified an amount of $278,050 for that machine. McLean came in at $207,000, 70,000 below the budget. So they win 94 point something percent. So it's the machine that best met our needs. So today we're proposing to go forward with McLean. Thank you. It's a happy trend that we're going below the cost. For a while, it was it was opposite. Everything was costing more. Do you want to read the contract award? Articulated sidewalk tractor. Given that the town of Shediac did an RFP through the NBON network for the purchase of an articulated sidewalk tractor, that ended January 13, 2026, and given that its 4 proposals were received and properly assessed, be it resolved that the proposal by Council Atlantic Coastal Equipment be accepted. The total cost of $207,374.17, HST included. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Jean Cormier, seconded by Councillor Jean-Min Galland.
Question, Conseil Joël.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Moi, je voulais juste dire félicitations sur le système de pointage. Je ne sais pas si on avait utilisé ça avant, mais...
I don't know if you used it before, but congratulations for your point system. Very good. So it shows us what's happening. So bravo. Councillor Paul Boudreau. I often ask the questions like some equipment, like it seems really good, like, and we see it how you clean the street. So what do you do with those equipment, like 200,000, 300,000? Do you trade them in, or is it sold? Like, what is the procedure to recuperate a little bit of money out of our fleet of equipment? It depends on the machine, but. So this one is more than 26 years old, so it's not worth a whole lot of money, but sometimes we can share it with another department. It's Paul, you're pretty much older, way older than the 26 years old. So if it's for us a truck, like you mentioned before Christmas, we sent it like to the auction and we had like a good amount. But if we can get some money back, like it's always better like to send it to trade than to do it like to auction it than do a trade-in, because trade-in don't have money. It's like an auction system we have, so when the equipment is still worth some money. On this note, all in favor saying aye, against nay. Carried. Thank you. 15.4, the net zero contract award. So if you would like to present it. Thank you, Mr. Mayers. You're wondering like who was the guy like seated at the desk. I'm introducing like Tom Kaniak. Tom is responsible for innovation and development for net zero. It's his contract position that we created with the amount we receive from the federal government. And of course, like one of the development axes, like for strategic planning, that was to have a development of a communication plan and to manage this project. So Tom manages initiative a program, and he is here like to present the results of this component. So welcome, Tom, and I hope you will be good with him, like because it's his first council meeting he ever attended, like in all his life. Thank you. Welcome, Tom. Good evening, council member. Tom Kaniak. I'm very happy to be in the position, the environment net zero. It's a personal passion for me. I understand it, understand the problem, and something I want to work on. It's not only a passion. I have 25 years of experience in engineering and also in the private sector, and mostly with the JDI. So I have a good experience with my passion. Perfect. So I'm presenting, we have, so we did a call of tender for a communication and public engagement project where we ask communication agencies to come here and to look for the appetite of our public, either like from the citizens, business people, and industry. See what it means for them, like the net zero. Is it important? Is it not important? They want it or not? They understand it or they do not understand at all? So as administration, we're not in a position to ask those questions and manage this type of project. So we need like a team of professionals. So at the end of November, we got like 12 quotes for this project from this project, and also with a team of 4 people. We determine like a step 3, and then after we ask them to come back here, and with the same team and some point system, we reassess them to make sure like the chosen individual, they were really good up for the job. So they need like it has to be done. And once again, it was really important. And we recommend to use like the portfolio agency from Moncton. During the 2 evaluation steps, they came up at first place at a price of $118,150. Mr. CEO, so the recommendation from the administration is to go ahead with the recommended firm. I would need like a motion, a resolution to go forward like with the chosen firm. Of course, if you have any questions, like we're ready to answer them. Councillor Després, I will have a question after 15.4. Contract award net zero phase 2. Be it resolved that the town of Shediac net zero public engagement incentive contract be awarded to Portfolio for a total amount of $118.50 plus HST. The funds will come from ACOA and NRCAN financing. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Patricia Bourg-Chevary. Councillor Després. It was mostly like for the money. So it's not coming from the town, right? So we got some money. We received money from ACOA last year to develop this project. And the funds also, they help to fund like the Tom's position position. So it was to develop the strategy and get up to a certain point so the municipalities would decide long-term how they want to proceed with the file, but specifically to develop the communication strategy to make sure like it made 1.3 of the strategic planning to develop a communication plan. I will also add like the deadlines that were established were a little bit late, like we got some delays, especially it's because it took a while like to fill like the position of the person we hired. We went to the market twice, two separate occasions, and I would say we even hired Tom like outside the second process, like we did not participate to the process. So we had a hard time filling this position, and I would like to throw flowers at Tom. He's very passionate on those and the net zero issue and where we can go with this. And we made a good choice with Tom. But the funds mainly will be coming. They're coming from other sources than the municipality, so it's good. Councillor Paul Boudreau, communication or consultation? What is it? It's the outreach. Yes, they will consult with the public. They will consult and communicate. Just a question for administration. Did they consult for the multi-generation center strategy plan? We consult for the recreation plan? How do we refer? We have some consultation, like people. How can how can you engage people? Stop asking and do something, or it's from my own perspective, because it's great for us to consult the population. And it's different for each project, but we will not hide that. And of course, we believe in the philosophy that we'd rather we like to consult than non-consult. So we give the opportunity to the citizen to participate to a process. It's either for them or not for them, but we see it does not target the same demographics. So it requires some kind of gymnastic, because we do not want to lead to confusion, but we see the importance of consulting the population and take the pulse and vehiculate like the message of the net zero and educate on this file. But it's clear, it's what we're asking people like. It's a gymnastic. If I may add, it's an item that was mentioned by all like the stakeholders, like the 12 companies that participated in the process, and they realized they had a lot of consultation. And it's something we mentioned. There's other mechanism in place, so there will be some surveys. We'll ask people to come here, but the idea is to go to the people and not asking to the people to go towards us. So it's kind of the principle, like to move, to go to the market, have a booth and get some information, stuff like that. It will be a little bit different for this one. Thank you. On this note, all in favor, saying aye. Against nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Tom. Next item of a notice of motion 2.
Councillor McEnroy.
Thank you, Mayor. I hereby give notice that at the Town Council meeting on February 2nd, 2026, I intend to move the following motion. Whereas the publicly traveled private sector roads in Pointe-du-Chien, Ward 2 of the town of Shediac, require basic maintenance, and whereas neither the province of New Brunswick nor the town of Shediac provide this service, therefore be it resolved that the town of Shediac approves in principle financial assistance for the setup costs of a nonprofit road corporation for the community of Pointe-du-Chien for the purpose of providing basic road maintenance on the publicly traveled private sector roads in Ward 2, Pointe-du-Chien, with such corporation having a community-based board of directors and funding from Ward 2 property taxes. Be it further resolved that once the costs of establishing the corporation are determined, this matter be brought to council for final approval.
Thank you, Councillor McElroy. Any additional, there's no debate on a notice of motion, but if you want to provide more context, I'd allow you to do that if you wanted.
No, I think it's self-explanatory.
The next one.
Well, wait, it'll come back on February 2nd.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Et prochain de conseillère Janice Cormier.
And next one, notice of motion, Janice Cormier. It's mostly to give you some context. What is the notice of motion that will come on the next agenda or for the next meeting in February? At the end of the 2025, the Environment Committee met with Councillor Cormier, and the Environment Committee was looking at the possibility of a bylaw for the pesticide. So when we met, the committee at the time was notified like the committee would not exist anymore because of the strategic plan we adopted in 2025. When we adopted the plan in 2025, if I remember, someone mentioned what will happen in this committee. We will continue the discussion for the pesticide bylaw. If I'm not mistaken, the administration said it wasn't in our strategic plan or the pillars when we adopted the plan. After many discussions and during this meeting and with our citizens, we decided to have a notice of motion to create an environment committee with a broader mandate and a mandate that would support the pillar in our strategic plan for our environment. So this is the notice of motion. So the next meeting will have a notice of motion to see what is the appetite to create an environment committee with a broader mandate to support the strategic plan and the pillars for environment. Thank you.
Donc, prochain point, nomination.
Next item, appointment to committees, none for this evening. And our next meeting will be on February 2nd, 2026. On this note, I would need a motion. Councillor Germaine Gallon moving the adjournment of the meeting. Thank you very much and have a good rest of the evening.
Donc, comme j'avais dit pour les membres du conseil,
for the council member, you can stay here for